Cause it ain't no lie, baby. Bye, 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 bye. Hey, you may hate me, but it ain't no lie, baby. Bye, 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 bye. Whew. Worked up a little.
You love me like yeah. You love me like no. You love me like oh, 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 oh. You love me like yeah. You love me like no.
Welcome back to the channel. It's
Drake.
Ambry, and you're watching guys. This is an awesome video. This is about leaving your ex, moving on.
What's the title?
Bye, 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 bye. You know, so.
What's the title of it?
Oh, bye, bye, bye. Moving on from an ex.
There you go.
I said that. Don't get picky.
So here are tips or things you need to keep in consideration. So first is evaluating the situation as a whole. Let's speak on that, Brie.
Yeah, so when you break up with somebody, there's always a reason, right? So when you break up, evaluating the situation and like reminding yourself why you broke up is a great way to not go back to the relationship and just completely move on. So remember the why. Like, why did it end? Why do you need to move on? And then focus on what's forward, not behind you.
Yeah, I think in anything that you move on from, well, first, all things that you pass up, whether mistakes, failures, or things you see like negative things in your life, they are learning experiences. What's the one saying they say? It's like there's wins and lessons.
Yeah.
So it's like there's no losses. So, but there are only lessons if you evaluate the whole situation and what happened. You have to pick out things, understand where you may have went wrong, where the other person may have went wrong, noticing that, oh, that was the thing that really led to our breakup. That red flag happened earlier in the relationship. Now that I'm thinking about it, and now I know that if he's asking for my phone in week 2 or something like that, then that means that he probably has some insecurity issues and some trust issues which may not work. So when you evaluate the whole situation, that's the only way that you can learn from your past mistakes. The people that continue to make the same mistakes over and over again don't evaluate their situation. They just chalk it up as like, oh, that person was just whatever, or there's nothing I did wrong. And then they keep ending up in the same exact thing because they don't take what happened in the past and learn from it and try to do something different in the future.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Second thing is that time heals all. And so you got to remember to be kind to yourself. Like, breakups are hard. Like, it's a part of life. There's a phase. It's the same thing as if you lose somebody in your life. There's phases to grief and there's phases to everything that we go through. So allow yourself to have time and realize that, like, okay, it's only day 1. It's day 2. It's week 2. It's month 2. And realize that, like, you have to break up with not just the person, but with the situation as a whole, and realize it's over. Make sure that you go back to the first thing that we said, which is evaluating the situation, understanding why you're moving forward, and then giving yourself time to make that a habit. If you're used to talking to someone every day, especially the longer that you've been with someone, it's going to be a new habit that you have to learn not to talk to that person. So be kind to yourself and give yourself that time and space, and realize that you're not crazy because you miss your ex. It's just going to take a little time.
I agree. And I think that rolls into the next point, which is if you're done, be done.
No booty call, text messages.
It's like if you've ever been hurt, if you've had like an ankle injury, what they tell you is stay off of it. If you have a cut, they wrap it up and say they don't want anything to get in it, to get infected or make it worse. Is that if you're healing, you can't be in environments or be in situations that open up that wound or re-injure whatever that thing is, or put you in a worse situation and have you dipping back into something that you shouldn't be in. So if you have a bad relationship, some people think it's petty. If you need to block somebody, block them. Like, if you need to, like, because if you know yourself, if I know some people that need to change their number. It's like, if you know like how you are, And that sometimes you like to get into, like, you feel lonely and you want to reach back out, but it's like you're healing from something. And you need to make sure that if you're really done with the situation, that you're done with the situation. And it's going to be hard because even, not because there was love or anything, even for the pure fact of familiarity that people have, that's why people go back. Not because this was great or that was great. It's just what they've been doing for the past 2 years, and that person's been there. So they're just like, I ain't doing nothing, like, or this is normally on Tuesdays we do this. Not because it was great, just because it's something familiar to you. So even that, you have to make sure if you're going to be done, to be done. And if you're healing from something, you have to let yourself heal. And you can't act when you're in a vulnerable place. And I know one example for me is that I broke up with my ex-girlfriend in college. And a lot of it was my fault. I never cheated or anything, but the way I broke up with her wasn't great. But I remember wanting to get back with her, but the time was that I was still healing. Even though I broke up with her, I was still healing, and I realized the reason that I wanted to get back with her so much is because I was feeling guilty. And it was like that guilt was one of the reasons that made me like, oh yeah, I'm gonna keep getting back into us without really evaluating, was the relationship really great or was it not great? I just felt so guilty that it made me want to go back. But if I took the time to really heal, take in, like, move back and step back from the situation, and then once the feeling has settled and really evaluate to say, is this a good relationship? Were we in a healthy relationship? Then I could have, maybe made a better decision or been in the right mindset.
Yeah, and just to piggyback what he was saying about putting yourself in vulnerable situations, that also means if you're dealing with a breakup, don't try to throw your problems at a new person. Don't think like, oh, I'm just gonna, go have sex with this person or go on this date or, do whatever with whomever to get over, that person, because that almost never works. And it's just adding on to the pain and what you're going through. It's like, that does nothing to solve your problems. So yeah, that. Lastly, shifting your mindset. So I always have this thing when people are going through breakups. I always tell them, like, think about the fact that you are one man closer to your man.
Person.
Your man. But yeah, in this case, person. So, for example, I had to go through getting in a relationship and breaking up, getting in and breaking up, getting in and breaking up, to the point where I got in and I broke up. And then guess who came next? So every relationship was a way for me to learn lessons, learn how I am in relationships, how I can be better, things that I look for or that I really want in the person that's going to be my right person. And then by the time you go through all of these people, which are kind of like tests and building blocks to get you to where you're supposed to be, you just get to where you ultimately are supposed to be, which is with that right person. So if you're breaking up with this person, he's clearly not your person. So just look at it. Sorry, I know there's guys here too. I love y'all. I'm sorry. If that person is not your person, just note, I'm one person closer to the person I'm meant to be with. So just get on to the future so you can be in a happier place, because you don't want to move backwards. That's my nugget. Anything else?
No, I just think it's important to my favorite thing out of this is pretty much everybody knows time heals all. Whether that's something physical that you hurt or mentally or emotionally. But I think the biggest thing is just you have to evaluate the situation. Like, going back to that first thing is, if you don't evaluate the situation, you're destined to repeat yourself.
Yeah.
And that's something that you have to do.
And you don't want to start a new relationship with the same baggage from your past relationship, because then it's hard for it to work.
Very, very hard.
So put in the work. I feel like most of our videos end with put in the work. Anything else?
No, that's all for me.
All right, so let us know your guys' thoughts. Let us know if you have any advice for moving on from an ex, or tell us about your most recent breakup, or maybe your new boo. Make sure you subscribe. Follow us on Instagram at It's Dre Smith, Brianna Aponte, and Worth the Wait. Also follow All About It LLC. We have a new course launching called Quit Your Job to Pursue Your It.
Actually, it might already be out at this point.
Oh yeah, by this time. Okay, well, if you want information on our How to Quit Your Job to Pursue Your It, fill out the form that's connected to the button below.
Below.
Whoa.
Low.
Gosh. Low. I can do it.
See
Love
y'all
y'all.